Princess Lyrael Voss walked slowly through the wide black halls of the space station called Harmony's Reach. Her long, glowing dress moved behind her like soft light from distant stars. She was the first daughter of the Illyrian royal family. Her people had ruled many worlds for thousands of years. They spoke in calm voices and never showed strong feelings. Lyrael had talked to strange beings from every corner of the galaxy. She met beings with many arms. She met beings who breathed fire. She met machines that thought faster than any living thing. She always stayed perfect and quiet. Today felt different. The new humans from Earth wanted to join the Great Council. Everyone called them Terrans. They had only been in space for a short time. 200 years was nothing to most races. Many old empires laughed at them. They said humans were weak and loud. They said humans died too fast. Lyrael listened to her advisors before the meeting. They told her not to worry. They said the humans would make noise and then go away. She believed them. She stepped into the great round room where all the important beings sat. Tall crystal chairs stood in a circle. Light came from floating orbs above. Delegates from many species already waited. The tall insect-like Vorath sat with shining shells. The slow gas creatures from Nebula Prime floated in clear tanks. The small, sharp-eyed traders from the rim worlds clicked their claws. Lyrael took her place at the high seat. Her silver hair caught the light. Her skin glowed soft blue. She looked perfect as always. Then the doors opened again. A single human walked in. He wore an old leather jacket with many marks from fights. His boots made hard sounds on the smooth floor. He had short dark hair and a face full of small scars. His eyes looked straight ahead, without fear. He did not bow. He did not smile. He stopped in the center of the room. Everyone stared. Lyrael felt something small move inside her chest. She did not know the name of that feeling. The human spoke in a low, clear voice. We came because no one else stopped the Krellid slavers. They took ships and people for many cycles. Your fleets watched and did nothing. We burned their main base in 3 days. We killed their warlord. We freed every prisoner we found. You are welcome. He finished and stood still. No one moved. The room became very quiet. One of the Vorath delegates made a rough laugh sound. He stretched his long neck. He said the graveyard planet called Earth should stay forgotten. More laughs came from other seats. Lyrael watched the human. His face did not change. He looked at the big Vorath without blinking. Then he spoke again. We turned that graveyard into a wall of steel and fire. Your best attack ships came once. We broke them in 6 hours. Laugh again if you want. See what happens next time. The laughs stopped fast. The Vorath pulled his head back. His shell clicked in fear. Lyrael felt her 2 hearts beat harder. Illyrians never felt fear. Their bodies did not allow it. Yet something hot moved through her blood. She looked at the human called Captain Marcus Kane. He stood like a rock in a storm. He looked tired but strong. His hands stayed loose at his sides. He carried no weapon in the room. He did not need one. The meeting continued. Many voices spoke about rules and borders. Lyrael tried to listen. Her thoughts kept going back to the human. After the main talks ended, the delegates left in groups. Lyrael stayed behind. She walked to a small side hall. Marcus Kane stood there alone. He looked at the stars through a wide window. She stepped closer. Her dress made no sound. You spoke strong words in there, she said. He turned his head a little. I spoke true words, he answered. You threatened a council member before everyone. I stated facts. Threats mean I might not do it. I always do what I say. Lyrael felt warm in her face. Her cheeks turned light violet. She had never felt that before. She took one step back. "Why do you act this way?" she asked. "Why do you not bow or use soft words?" Marcus looked at her fully now. His eyes met hers. "I bow to people who earn it. Soft words hide truth. I have no time for games. We lost too many to play nice with monsters." Lyrael opened her mouth, then closed it. She could not find the right words. To stay calm. Now calm felt far away. She turned quickly and walked out of the hall. Her steps moved faster than normal. Her heart still beat hard. She went to her private room on the station. She stood before the mirror. Her face showed color she did not want. She touched her cheek. The violet stayed. She whispered to herself, "What is this?" She sat on the soft bench. She stared at her hands. They shook a little. She had never shaken before. Outside the station, the stars burned cold and far. Inside her, something new woke up. She did not know if she liked it. She did not know if she feared it. She only knew one thing. The human called Marcus Kane had changed the air around her, and she could not go back to how things were before. She closed her eyes. She breathed slow. The meeting would continue tomorrow. She would see him again. Hearts beat even faster. She smiled without wanting to. The smile felt strange and alive. For the first time in 300 years, Princess Lyrael Voss felt something real. The next day, the council room filled again with delegates from every corner of space. Lyrael sat in her high crystal chair. She kept her face calm and her hands folded neatly in her lap. Her glowing dress looked brighter today. She told herself nothing had changed. She told herself the human meant nothing. Deep inside, she knew that was not true. The meeting started with talks about trade routes. Then it moved to old disputes between worlds. An old Vorath delegate rose from his seat. His name was Thraxar. He stood 8 meters tall. His black shell shone under the lights. His many eyes turned toward the human side of the circle. Marcus Kane sat there in the same old jacket. He leaned back with arms crossed. Thraxar opened his wide mouth. His voice came out like grinding stones. He said many things about the old days. Then he looked straight at Marcus. He said, "Your little dirtball called Earth is just a graveyard the galaxy forgot to sweep." He said, "Your kind crawled out of mud and think you belong among stars." Laughter started small, then grew loud. The gas beings bubbled in their tanks. The rim traders clicked their claws fast. Even some Illyrian aides made soft amused sounds. Lyrael felt her skin grow warm again. She looked at Marcus. He did not move. His face stayed the same. No anger showed. No smile showed. He just watched Thraxar like a hunter watches prey. When the laughter died down, Marcus leaned forward. His voice stayed low and clear. Everyone could hear it. He said, "We turned that graveyard into a fortress. Your best attack fleet came to test us during first contact. We broke them in under 6 hours. Every ship burned. Every pilot died. We kept our world. We kept our people. Laugh again. See what happens next." Quiet. Thraxar pulled his long neck back. His shell made small clicking sounds of nerves. His many eyes blinked fast. He sat down without another word. No one else laughed. Lyrael felt her heart pound hard against her ribs. The feeling came stronger this time. It moved up her throat like fire. She pressed her lips together to stay silent. The meeting went on. Talks about borders and taxes continued. But the air felt heavy now. Everyone stole looks at the human. Marcus sat still. He answered questions when asked. His words stayed short and sharp. No extra talk. No polite fluff. After many hours, the main session ended. Delegates stood and moved toward the doors. Groups formed. Whispers spread. Lyrael stayed in her seat a moment longer. She watched Marcus rise. He walked toward a side exit. She stood up without thinking. She followed him into a narrow, empty corridor. The walls glowed soft white. No one else came this way. She stopped a few steps behind him. He turned around. His eyes met hers again. She spoke first. You threatened a council member before the eyes of 1,000 worlds. Marcus shrugged one shoulder. I stated facts. Threats mean I might not follow through. I always follow through. Lyrael took a small step closer. Her voice came quieter now. Why do you speak like that? Why do you not care about angering powerful beings? Marcus looked at her for a long moment. Then he answered, I care about my people. I care about the ones who died, so we could sit here. I do not care about making tall bugs feel good. If truth makes them angry, then let them stay angry. Lyrael felt heat rise in her face again. Violet color spread across her cheeks and neck. Feeling. It made her breath come fast. She said, you make everything sound simple. Life is not simple. Rules keep peace. Courtesy keeps order. Marcus gave a small shake of his head. Rules kept peace until slavers took your ships and no one moved. Courtesy let monsters grow strong. Sometimes you need someone who doesn't play by those rules. Lyrael opened her mouth to argue. No words came. Her mind felt full of noise. She looked down at the floor. Her hands shook a little. She tried to stop them. She could not. Marcus watched her. He did not speak. He just waited. After a long silence, she lifted her head. Her voice came out small. I have lived 300 years. I have never raised my voice. I have never lost calm. I have never felt this. Marcus tilted his head a bit. Felt what? Lyrael swallowed. She did not know how to say it. People did not talk about such things. She said, my heart's beat too fast. My skin burns. My thoughts will not stay still. Marcus looked at her with something new in his eyes. Not pity, not amusement, something close to understanding. He said, sounds like adrenaline. Sounds like you are alive. Lyrael stared at him. Alive. She had always been alive. But this felt different. This felt raw and sharp and too much. She took one step back, then another. She turned quickly. She walked fast down the corridor. Her dress trailed behind like fading light. Her steps echoed. She did not look back. She reached her private quarters. The door closed with a soft hiss. She stood in the middle of the room. She pressed both hands to her face. Violet tears gathered in her eyes. She blinked hard. They fell anyway. Liquid tears. Illyrians did not cry like this. Not ever. She sank to the soft bench. Her shoulders shook. Small sounds escaped her throat. Not words, just feelings she could not hold inside anymore. She thought about Marcus, his scarred face, his steady voice, his complete lack of fear. She thought about how small her world felt now. All her centuries of perfect control seemed thin, like paper held against fire. She wiped her face with shaking hands. The violet stains stayed on her fingers. She looked at them. She whispered one word. Why? No answer came. Outside the station, the stars kept burning. Inside her room, the princess sat alone. Something old and strong had broken open. She did not know how to close it again. She did not know if she wanted to. Tomorrow the council would meet again. She would see him again. That thought made her hearts race faster. More pee. But this time, a tiny smile touched her lips. The smile felt dangerous. It felt real. She let it stay. The council gave a short break after many hours of talk. Delegates moved to side rooms to eat and rest. Lyrael walked alone through the wide main corridor. She needed quiet to think. Her mind kept returning to Marcus, to his words, to the way he stood without fear. She tried to push the thoughts away. She told herself it was foolish. She was Illyrian royalty. She did not let small things disturb her. Then the alarm screamed. Red lights flashed across every wall. A loud voice came over the speakers. Krellid remnant forces have boarded the station. All delegates seek shelter. Security teams respond. Panic started fast. Tall beings ran in every direction. Gas creatures floated quickly toward escape pods. Voreth delegates pushed each other to reach doors. Lyriel stood still for one moment. Then she moved. She pulled her phase lance from the hidden fold in her dress. The weapon hummed softly in her hand. She knew the forms of elegant combat. She had practiced them for sport in palace gardens, never in real battle. She walked toward the sound of fighting. Explosions shook the floor. Smoke filled the air. She turned a corner and saw them. Krellid warriors, big and armored. Their skin looked like cracked stone. They carried heavy plasma guns. They shot at station guards. Guards fell one after another. Lyriel raised her lance. She prepared to join the fight with grace. Then she saw Marcus. He came from the other side. No armor, just the old jacket. A pistol in one hand, a combat knife in the other. He moved fast, like he weighed nothing. A Krellid charged him. The warrior was twice his size. It swung a huge claw. Marcus stepped to the side. He drove the knife into a spot under the arm. The Krellid roared. Marcus pulled the knife free. He fired the pistol into the open mouth. The creature dropped. Marcus kept moving. He did not stop. He did not shout. He just ended the threat. Another Krellid fired at him. The plasma bolt grazed his shoulder. Flesh burned black. Smoke rose from the wound. Marcus grunted once. He turned. He shot back twice. Both hits landed in the eyes. The Krellid fell backward. Lyriel watched. Her lance stayed raised but did not move. She had never seen pain ignored like that. Humans felt pain. She knew the science, yet this one pushed through it, like it meant nothing. More Krellid came down the corridor. 5 of them. They saw Lyriel. One pointed. They started toward her. She stepped back. Her training told her to fight with poise. Her body felt frozen. Then Marcus was there, and the enemy. He fired as he moved. One Krellid dropped. He jumped over a fallen body. He tackled another. They hit the ground hard. Marcus rolled on top. He drove the knife into the neck joint. Twice. 3 times. The creature stopped moving. Marcus stood up. Blood ran down his face from a cut above his eye. He looked at Lyriel. "Stay behind me, princess." His voice stayed calm, like he asked her to pass the salt. Lyriel felt something break inside. A sound came from her throat. Half cry, half laugh. It sounded strange. Illyrians did not make sounds like that. She lowered her lance. Her hand shook so hard the weapon almost fell. Marcus turned back to the fight. 2 more Krellid rushed him. He dodged the first plasma shot. He kicked one in the knee. The joint cracked. The creature fell. Marcus shot it in the head. Swung a heavy club. Marcus caught the arm. He twisted. Bones snapped. He stabbed upward under the chin. The Krellid collapsed. Silence came. Only the sound of distant alarms and small fires. Marcus stood breathing hard. His shoulders smoked. His face looked red with blood. He turned to Lyriel. "You hurt?" She shook her head. No words came at first. Then she spoke in a small voice. "You bleed. You feel pain. Why do you keep fighting?" Marcus wiped blood from his eye with his sleeve. "Because someone has to. If I stop, they win. If they win, more people die. Simple as that." Lyriel looked at the bodies around them. Big, scary warriors, dead in moments, because of one human. She felt her legs grow weak. She leaned against the wall. The phase lance slipped from her fingers. It clattered to the floor. She slid down until she sat. Glowing dress pooled around her. She stared at Marcus. He knelt in front of her, not too close, just close enough. He said, "It is over here. Security will come soon." Lyriel looked at his burned shoulder, at the blood on his hands, at the steady way he breathed. She felt tears come again. Violet drops fell on her dress. She did not wipe them away. She whispered, "I have never seen anything like you." Marcus gave a small, tired smile. "First time for everything, princess." He stood up slowly. He held out his good hand. "Come on, we need to get to a safe spot." Lyral took his hand. His skin felt warm, rough, real. She stood with his help, her legs still shook. They walked together down the smoky corridor. Alarms still screamed, but the danger here had ended. Lyral looked at him many times as they moved. Harder. She did not understand the feeling, but she did not want it to stop. She felt alive, scared, awake, for the first time in centuries, and all because of a fearless human fighter who refused to break. They reached a secure door. Guards opened it. They rushed inside. Medics waited. Marcus let them look at his wounds, but he never took his eyes off the door. Always watching, always ready. Lyral sat nearby. She watched him. She did not speak. She just felt the new storm inside her grow. Stronger, wilder. And she knew nothing would ever be the same again. The medics worked fast in the secure medical bay. Bright white lights filled the room. Tables held tools and glowing screens. Marcus sat on one table without a shirt. His burned shoulder looked raw and black at the edges. Blood still dried on his chest and arms. A medic with 4 arms tried to give him a shot for pain. Marcus shook his head no. He said, "Just fix it. I need to stay awake." The medic looked surprised. Most beings begged for relief after such wounds. Marcus did not. He sat straight. His face stayed calm. He watched the door, like more enemies might come. Lyral stood in the doorway. She did not enter at first. She just watched. Her dress still had smoke marks. Her hands stayed clasped tight in front of her. Violet stains marked her cheeks from earlier tears. She felt strange, empty, and full at the same time. A medic noticed her. He said, "Princess, you should sit. You look pale." Lyral shook her head. She stepped inside slowly. She moved closer to Marcus. He looked up at her. His eyes met hers without surprise. He said, "You okay?" She nodded once. Her voice came soft. "You refuse the medicine for pain. Why?" Marcus gave a small lift of his good shoulder. "Pain keeps me sharp. If I go numb, I might miss something. I have seen too many friends die because they went soft too soon." Lyral stared at the wound. The skin looked cooked. She knew Illyrians would scream for days from less. She asked, "Does it not hurt too much?" Marcus looked down at the burn. "It hurts like fire. But hurt is just a signal. It says keep going or die. I choose keep going." The medic worked with a tool that sprayed cool mist. Then he placed synth-skin patches. The patches hissed as they bonded. Marcus did not flinch. Once, Lyral felt her throat get tight. She moved closer. She stood right beside the table now. She said, "I have read about humans. Your bodies break easy. You live short lives, yet you fight like nothing can stop you." Marcus looked at her. His voice stayed low. "We break easy. That is why we learn to fight hard. We know we can die any day, so we make every day count. We protect what matters. We do not wait for someone else to save us." Lyral felt something twist inside her chest. Her people lived long. They planned for centuries. They avoided risks. They stayed safe behind rules and walls. She said, "We Illyrians do not feel fear. Our bodies do not make the chemicals for it. We stay calm, always." Marcus studied her face. Then he said, "Maybe that is why you look so lost right now." Lyral blinked. Lost. She had never thought of herself that way. Said, "I have ruled beside my family for 300 years. I have faced dangers. I have never lost control. Not once." Marcus gave a small nod. "Maybe that is the problem. You lock everything away so tight, nothing gets out. Not even the good stuff. Not even the real stuff. Lyrael felt heat rise in her face again. Violet color spread fast. Her eyes grew wet. She tried to hold it back. She could not. Tears fell. Real liquid tears, they dropped onto the floor. She covered her face with both hands. Her shoulders began to shake. Small sounds came from her. Not words, just broken feelings. Marcus watched for a moment. Then he slid off the table. He ignored the medic who tried to stop him. He stepped close to Lyrael. He reached out with his good hand. He gently pulled her hands away from her face. She looked up at him. Cheeks. Her eyes shone bright. Marcus said, "You are allowed to feel it. It does not make you weak. It makes you alive." Lyrael stared at him. Alive. The word hit her hard. She had lived so long, but had she really felt alive? Not like this. Not raw and open and scared and strong all at once. She made a small sound. Then she stepped forward. She pressed her face against his chest. Her arms went around him. She held tight. Violet tears soaked into his skin. Marcus stood still at first. Then his good arm came around her shoulders. He held her gently. He did not speak. He just let her cry. The medics stopped working. They watched in silence. No one had ever seen an Illyrian princess like this. No one had ever seen her break. Minutes passed. Lyrael slowly pulled back. She looked up at Marcus. Her voice came shaky. "I do not know what this is. I do not know how to stop it." Marcus looked down at her. His face softened just a little. "You do not have to stop it. Let it come, let it go. That is how you learn what really matters." Lyrael wiped her face. The violet stains stayed on her hands. She looked at them. Then she looked at him. "Thank you," she whispered. Marcus nodded once. "Any time, princess." He sat back on the table. The medic started working again. Lyrael stayed close. She did not leave his side. She watched every move. She listened to every breath. Something new grew inside her. Not just feeling, not just fear. Something stronger. Something like respect. Something like need. She did not have words for it yet. But she knew one thing clear. She did not want to go back to the old calm. The old empty perfect calm. She wanted this. The storm. The fire. Later, when the medics finished, they wrapped Marcus's shoulder in clean bandages. He stood up. He tested his arm. It moved stiff, but worked. He looked at Lyrael. "We should get some rest. Tomorrow the council meets again." Lyrael nodded. She walked with him out of the medical bay. They moved through quiet halls. Guards nodded as they passed. No one spoke. When they reached a split in the corridor, Lyrael stopped. She turned to him. "Will you be there tomorrow, in the council room?" Marcus looked at her. "I will be there. Someone has to remind them we do not play games." Lyrael felt a small smile touch her lips. It felt strange but good. Then she said, "Good, because I want to stand beside you. Not behind, not in front. Beside." Marcus looked surprised for the first time. Then he gave a real smile. "Small but real," he said. "Then stand beside me, princess. We will see what happens." They parted ways. Lyrael went to her room. She stood before the mirror again. Her face still showed violet marks. Her eyes looked different, brighter, alive. She touched her cheek. She did not wipe the marks away. She let them stay. She went to her bed. She lay down. But she did not sleep right away. She thought about Marcus, about his scars, about his blood, about his steady voice in the middle of death. She thought about her tears, about the way she broke, and she did not feel shame. She felt free. For the first time in 300 years, she felt free. And tomorrow she would face the council, not as the perfect princess, but as something new, something changed, something touched by a fearless human fighter. She closed her eyes. A small smile stayed on her face. Outside kept shining, but inside her, a new light burned, bright and strong and unafraid. The council chamber looked the same as before. Crystal chairs stood in the circle. Floating lights glowed above. Delegates filled their seats. Whispers moved through the air like wind. Everyone knew what happened during the attack. Everyone knew the Illyrian princess had cried. Everyone knew she clung to the human fighter. Some called it shame. Some called it the start of something new. Lyrael entered last. She wore a simple white gown. No glow, no jewels, no long train. Her silver hair hung loose. Her face showed no makeup to hide the faint violet marks. She walked with steady steps. She did not look down. She did not hide. She took her place at the high seat, but she did not sit alone. Marcus Kane walked beside her. He wore a fresh jacket. His shoulders still had bandages under the cloth. He stood next to her chair, not behind, front, right, beside. The room grew quiet fast. All eyes turned to them. The Vorath delegate Draxar rose slowly. His shell clicked. His many eyes narrowed. He spoke in his grinding voice. He said the attack proved nothing. He said humans brought danger to the station. He said weak species should stay quiet. He looked at Lyrael. He said, and royalty should remember their place. Lyrael stood up. Her voice came clear and strong. No tremble, no softness. She said, mock them again. Mock the humans again. And you will answer to me and to him. She placed her hand on Marcus' shoulder. The touch looked light, but it carried weight. Thraxar blinked fast. He opened his mouth. No words came out. He sat down, his long neck pulled in. The chamber stayed silent. No laughs, no clicks, no bubbles. Lyrael looked around the circle. Spoke again. The Krellid came because we did nothing for too long. We watched slavers take lives. We watched fleets burn. We stayed calm. We stayed neutral. Neutral let evil grow. Neutral is not peace. Neutral is cowardice. She paused. Her eyes found Marcus. He gave one small nod. She continued. Humans came. They fought. They bled. They won. They did what we would not. They showed us what strength looks like. Not long life, not perfect calm, but the will to stand, to bleed, to keep going. I have lived 300 years. I thought I knew everything. I was wrong. She looked at every delegate, one by one. I choose to learn from them. I choose to stand with them. If any of you think that makes me weak, speak now. No one spoke. The silence felt heavy. Then a small rim trader clicked his claws softly. The humans saved my ship crew once. He said they fight like storms. Another delegate nodded. Then another. Whispers turned to low agreement. Lyrael sat down. Marcus stayed standing beside her. The meeting moved to new business. Talks about alliances. Talks about shared defense. For the first time, humans had real voices at the table. Marcus spoke when needed. His words stayed short. His points stayed clear. No one laughed at him now. After many hours, the session ended. Delegates left in small groups. Some looked at Lyrael with new respect. Some looked with fear. She did not care. She walked out with Marcus. They went to a quiet observation deck. Big windows showed the stars. The galaxy turned slow and bright. They stood side by side. No words at first. Then Lyrael spoke. Will you stay? Will you help us learn how to be afraid and still keep going? Marcus looked at the stars, then at her. He said, I will stay for a while. I will teach what I can. But you already started. You stood up today. You spoke truth. You put your hand on my shoulder before the whole galaxy. That is not small. Lyral smiled. The smile looked real, not practiced, not perfect, just real. She said, I broke before you. I felt weak. Marcus shook his head. You felt everything. That is not weak. That is power. Real power. The kind that lasts. Lyral looked down at her hands. She turned them over. No shake now. She said, I want more. I want to learn how to fight. How to stand when everything hurts. How to protect what matters. Marcus grinned. The first big grin she saw from him. He said, then we start tomorrow. Basic stuff first. How to throw a punch. How to practice. Take a hit. How to get back up. Lyral laughed. The sound came light and free. She said, I look forward to it. They stood quiet again. The stars kept shining. Marcus said one more thing. You know this changes everything. Your people, your empire, the whole galaxy. They will talk about this for centuries. The princess who broke and came back stronger. Lyral nodded. Let them talk. I do not care about old stories anymore. I care about what comes next. Marcus looked at her. His eyes held something warm, something like pride. He said, then let's make it a good story, one worth telling. Lyral stepped closer. She rested her head against his good shoulder, just for a moment. She felt his warmth, his strength, his heartbeat, steady and sure. She whispered, thank you for showing me how to live. Marcus did not answer with. He just put his arm around her, gentle, careful of his wound. They watched the stars together. The galaxy stretched wide, full of danger, full of wonder, full of change. And in the middle of it all, a princess and a fighter. One who learned to feel, one who taught her how, one who found her fire, one who stood beside her. The old ways cracked, the new ways began, and somewhere in the vast dark, humanity showed the stars what it meant to never give up.